very warm welcome to all of you on Football United as we are counting down to the Hero ISL, and we are now just days away, and we have two of the most handsome men in Indian football in Paul Masefield and Maurya Mondal, and Darren Caldeira also joins us. Mace, I'll go to you first. How excited are you?
I can't wait. I really can't wait. Obviously, safety is the key element, which is why we're in Goa again. But, you know, the days can't go quickly enough.
And Darren, how about you? Excited season starting after the long wait?
Absolutely buzzing. I know we've been talking about it for a while. Paul Masefield and me have been getting on phone calls, you as well, Maurya, and we've just been discussing all the transfers, players coming in, who to look out for, and it's going to be a great season. Can't wait.
Absolutely. So hold that thought, but first let's tell you what's on the show. Hero ISL 2021-22, just days away. We get you all that you need to know ahead of this big season. Captain, leader, legend Sunil Chhetri looks ahead to the big Hero ISL season. And we try and find out which are the strongest teams ahead of this mega season. Okay, so lots coming up, guys. Darren, I'll start with you. Big season. Does this look like the most exciting season? Because all the teams, even the strong teams, have had certain issues, like say Mumbai have a new coach, ATK Mohun Bagan have lost to Sandeep Jhingan, and everybody looks very close this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at some of the teams that didn't fare too well last time around, you know, like the likes of Odisha FC, for example, I think they've really strengthened their side, gotten some quality foreign players in, and they look like a very good side. Then you got your usual suspects up ahead. You got your ATK Mohun Bagan, who looks super strong, and Mumbai City FC, like you just mentioned. But I don't think it's going to be as easy this time around. I don't think Mumbai City FC are going to be cruising like they did last season. You know, they've lost, obviously, Hugo Bumu, one of their best players, to ATK Mohun Bagan, and then you've seen Lobera leaving towards the end. So it is going to be difficult, but then you've got a lot of other teams who are looking strong. SC East Bengal have finally had a proper pre-season, so that's good. You know, they've had a change in personnel as well.
I agree with what Darren was saying about ATK Mohun Bagan. Hugo Bumu coming in. Also Kaku, don't forget, I mean, he was playing in the Euros. So they have really strengthened there. And with the likes of Liston and Deepak as well, and the form that they've shown off-season when they've been playing for the national team as well, in the under-23s, you've got to turn around and say they're the ones to catch. They're the ones to beat. They're the most stable. Havas is obviously still going to be in charge. And for me, if they're not top of the table come Christmas time, I mean, I'm not being funny, I'll dye my hair blonde. I really will, because I think that they are that far out ahead of everyone else. That being said, though, you're right about Mumbai, the changing coach, the changing manager, that's going to affect them. But bringing in the likes of Apuya, Angulo, again, track record, knows where the back of the net is, they're going to push them really all the way. Can't write off Goa. Goa were fantastic last season as well, all the way through. Gave a real good fist to themselves as well when they went into the Champions League, and really showed that they galvanised a bit. They haven't changed too much, so the solidity there and the actual galvanisation of the team being together for such a spell, they're going to push all the way. And I think Jamshedpur, Hyderabad, Kerala Blasters, I think there are three teams there that could really have a little push as well. And like you said, good business done by all of them.
Let me remind everyone, Paul Masefield has promised that if ATK Mohun Bagan are not top of the table by Christmas, he will dye his hair blonde. We don't want to see that. ATK Mohun Bagan, please top the table. We don't want a blonde Mace. But
at least I'll do it. At least I'll do it, Mojo. Unlike Anand. Now, remember that bet that I had with Anand when Robin Singh scored, and he was supposed to do one of the shows without his shirt on. He could have worn his jacket, but he welched. He didn't do it. But I'll stick to my word. You know me. If I've said it, I'll do it. You know that.
And Darren, what color hair will you do if one of your predictions doesn't happen? And what is that prediction?
For me, this time, I think Hyderabad are going to make the playoffs. I'm pretty confident that they will.
So if they don't, you will color your hair blonde.
I'll color my hair.
We'll just order some blonde hair color. Don't choose too many different things.
I think I'll dye my hair.
Just allows one hair color.
I'll dye my hair black because I can see a lot of white strands from the side. So I think I'll probably dye my hair
Nothing wrong with that, Darren. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. No, but like Mace mentioned, for me, I think Hyderabad look like the most stable side. I think they've made some smart signings with the foreigners, especially tried and tested foreigners who've been in the league and know how to get the job done. And then they got a lot of a good bunch of young players as well who proved their mettle last season. So I think they look like a team who look very solid, and I think they'll probably make the playoffs this time.
Darren mentioned young players, so let's hear from our very young player, Sunil Chhetri, as he looks ahead to the mega season.
Sunil bhai, a few months back when we spoke to you, you said that in the last couple of seasons, in a sense, the teams had lost the fear of BFC. Do you think that old swag is back?
Nah, not yet, man. It's too premature to say that. It'll only happen probably when we start doing well again. The only thing that has changed right now is that we have a new energy and everybody's working really hard to be fit first. You know, that kind of fear doesn't come automatic. I mean, in that context, let's speak. I mean, why, let's suppose ATK and Mumbai are doing so well. Goa does so well because they have the same team and they're doing well. And they've done well. And, once you lose it for a season or two like us, it's not that easy to get it back. So I don't want to be arrogant and say, you know what, we are going to demand the same kind of fear from other teams. No. And that's the truth. But we are some team and we always have that. We're always proud to be a team that is difficult to play against. And last year it wasn't the case. And we want to at least get back to that.
And how crucial are the youngsters, Sunil bhai, in that context? Because, I mean, somebody like Suresh has just come back from a good AFC under-23 campaign as well. I know he's one of the more sort of proven entities, but when you take a look at these youngsters and them in training, what do you observe and what's the future looking like?
Oh, I enjoy training with all these youngsters, man. The famous Durand Cup team, they're trying really, really hard. The coach is so hell-bent in promoting the youngsters that we have got, I think, 31, 32 players here. I think there was a big meeting with the club where he demanded that all young players should be here so that they can train with the main team. I think the dividend of this move will definitely be there in future for us to find out. And a player like Suresh is so important because he was one of those youngsters who was knocking the door in the first 18. And all the Shiv Shakti, the Damites, all the young ones can see that, if you work hard and if you do well, this is what you can get. Because now, I mean, is Suresh playing for BFC? Playing 11. Is he playing for the national team, senior team? Playing 11. Scores in the final of SAF Cup. Is he playing in the under-23 team? He's the captain. So just 1.5, 2 years and complete kudos to him that he did this. But it gives a lot of hope to other youngsters, which is what we are as a club. That's what we want to achieve. So I think Suresh is a great example. And I've got a personal bias towards him because I love the boy. I think when you want to go to a war or when you want to fight, you need a Suresh, man. He's unbelievably good in fighting. He has such an uncanny way of not giving up.
And Sunil bhai, talking about the Hero ISL, would you say this season would be the most open season? Because in a sense, all the teams are very equally matched. Even the teams like Mumbai, even they have had a coaching change. Even the big teams are the teams which were doing well last year. They have gone through certain changes, certain transitions. Does it make the league more open this year?
Well, generally, ISL is always open because of how the dynamics. But if you ask me, with my experience, the teams who players and have the same coaches and who have done well last year would have that edge because camaraderie really helps. When the coaching staff has the same philosophy, it always helps. So I think a Mumbai or ATK or a Goa would probably be one of those teams who are going to do well. But yes, it's very close, 2-3 good matches gives you 9 points. And then everything changes, Even I remember last year when we were so bad, and I've got no shame admitting that, still to the last couple of games, you had a chance where if you win, you would have qualified. So I think the league is very tight in that sense.
So Khel Ratna covered now. Golden Boot missing in the ISL, perhaps. The Shield missing. Is that your target? And what is your message to the fans, Sunil bhai, ahead of a big season?
That would be lovely, man. That would be lovely. Two things. Not most of the Golden Boot, but the Shield would be amazing because then that entitles you to play the AFC Champions League. That would be amazing. But it's too long. We know that. Especially after what happened in the last year, we understand every game is important. For the fans, for the BFC fans, I mean, they're unbelievable. One of the main things that we miss when we play in ISL is the fans, man. I mean, playing in Kantigua just gives you wings. And wherever they are, I hope all of them are safe and healthy. And as a club, I mean, right from the captain to everyone, we promised that we're going to fight. I said the first thing that we want to achieve is to be a team that is difficult to play against, especially after what happened last year. I don't, and we don't want to see the days that we saw last year. And for that, we will not leave any stone unturned. And good that we have a coach like Marco who is at it from day one.
So that was Sunil Chhetri looking ahead to the new season, young as ever. But talking of young and Indian, for the first time, Ace, we will have 7 Indian players in the starting 11. So a lot more game time for a lot of Indians. And probably the good thing is they'll probably have to play more crucial roles in the team. Like earlier, you would always have 2 central defenders who were foreign, probably more Indian central defenders. It's a good one, right?
Yes, but it does come with its issues and its problems, again, of where to play the players, where to fit in. It's great news that we get more Indian players on the pitch, because then that way it gives you a stronger base, and it'll give, obviously, the national team coach, Igor Stimac, more players to choose from. More game time, more opportunity, more showcase. All these kids have started to come through last year, and they really, really impressed us. Now, to be able to get more game time on the pitch and less foreigners on the pitch, they're falling into line with what everybody else in football around the world. That is the vital, most important thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this was always a plan for the Hero ISL, right? To cut down on the foreigners and eventually have more Indian players on the field. And now it comes with a lot more responsibility for these players when they're on the field. So now is probably the time to prove a point and say that, you know what, we can play at this level and we're as good as probably, you know, some of the foreigners in the team. But then again, also it cuts down the pool of foreign players. So I think teams have started getting in better quality foreign players as well into the league. So that helps as well. And I think it's really important for the younger players. You know, we talk about Indian strikers. We talk about, you know, who after Sunil Chhetri. It's difficult because you don't see a lot of Indian strikers getting game time. But now, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing someone like Ishan Pandita, for example, moving to Jamshedpur. I'm hoping he gets some more game time. And Rahim Ali as well. Yeah, another player who did really well for the under-23s, you know, and, you know, when you look at the central defenders as well, that's another position where you want to see more Indian players come in.
Well, here's the enigma, Mojo. Here's the enigma, right? You're looking at foreign players, 1 centre-back, 1 centre midfield player, 1 striker. Yeah. That'll be roughly. Now, you may get teams that will go with 2 central defenders, which will give the opportunity for more strikers to play, more Indian strikers to play. You may go the other way, where they've got more midfield players, more attackers, which means you're going to get more Indian defenders as well. And they'll be coming up against foreign attackers. So again, this bodes well for the ecosystem of football here in India. It's going to be fantastic to see.
Darren, I'll come to you. For the first time, we have an Indian head coach in one of your favorites, a person you know very well, Khalid Bhai. What do you make of that?
Oh, I think this was a no-brainer, obviously, for Northeast United to get, you know, Khalid Jamil as their head coach.
One more thing to add to that. Can he be the first Northeast head coach who can get them in playoffs back-to-back?
Well, I hope so. But I don't think that would happen this season. I think, like, a lot of the teams have strengthened and they're looking very, very strong.
You are saying it's difficult, right?
It's very difficult. Yeah, it's not impossible. Definitely not, because you know, last season, if you look at Northeast, they had a complete turnaround in their season once Khalid Jamil came in. So you never say never.
He should just be honest and say no. He's right what he said about other teams strengthening. I think that a lot of other teams have strengthened a lot more than Northeast. I'm just being honest. You have to look on paper and you see the squad lists that are out there for some of the other teams. It is if he gets them into the top 4, Khalid Jamil this year, it would be an absolute unbelievable achievement.
So last year, Northeast had the breakout Indian young player in Apuya, right? Darren, some of the young Indian players to watch out for, who are you really excited about?
There are quite a few, to be honest. I mean, Apuya, like we mentioned, you know, one of those players who would be looking forward to watching him
how
again.
he makes a transition right now.
To build on that
move
basically.
And all of that.
Yeah, you don't want it to be like a flash in the pan sort of a situation for a lot of the youngsters that we saw last season. So, you know, him and Akash Mishra, your Ashish Rai, there's Liston Colasso as well. Yep. You know, a lot of young players. There's Leon Augustine for BFC, I thought, who did really well when he used to come on. But one player that I'm really looking forward to watch is Komal Thattal, who's moved to Jamshedpur FC. Because, you know, I watched him very closely when he was at ATK, and a player with so much of quality. We saw glimpses of that in the Under-17 World Cup, but just hasn't managed to get enough of game time.
He's in a sense like the forgotten player of that Under-17 World Cup, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because while the others have pushed on, him and even a Sanjeev Stalin, don't forget, in Kerala Blasters.
Yeah, exactly. So these sort of players, and you know, someone like Komal Thattal is somebody who's very technically gifted. You know, you don't see that with a lot of Indian players. You know, you get the sort of, you know, the runners, the ones who will put in a lot of effort and, you know, put in those tackles. But he's somebody who's technically very intelligent and gifted as well. So I think he's going to be a solid player. I just hope he gets enough of game time at Jamshedpur.
And Mace, young players you're looking out for this year?
He's just mentioned the key, Darren, about getting game time.
Yeah.
Can you see him get to that starting 11? That's the big thing. I mean, I'm looking at Ishan, as you mentioned earlier as well, Darren. Can he bang the goals in for fun? Will he get more game time? They've got Valskis and they've got Murray there. Now, where's Ishan Pandita going to fit in there with those fun? So, I mean, that is least, imagine getting all three of them on the pitch at one time, you know. But again, it all goes back to the team selection there. Someone from, I mean, I've written down a list of names that Sahal, are we going to see him turn up? I mean, he's still young enough to be able to break in and to be able to do something. Raul KP down at Khel Ratna as well. Can he provide what he provided last year? He's already mentioned the likes of Listan. Savio Gama, I thought that he had a fantastic season last year and he's really, really come on. Princeton, when he played in the middle of the park, can do things for Goa. There's definitely no doubts about that. But Rahim Ali for me is an interesting one. Will he be given enough game time? Now that's a big question because they've got Jobby Justin as well. He needs to turn up and put in a performance after signing for ATK Monbagan and then moving on from there. So that he's got a point to prove.
Lots of great young Indian players to watch out for. On that note, time for a quick break for all of us. We'll be back discussing who could make it to the top 4 and look ahead to the first game where ATK Monbagan take on Kerala Blasters. Welcome back to Football United. Thanks for staying with us. It's been an incredible chat with Mace and Darren so far. Mace, looking ahead to the first game now. ATK Monbagan versus Kerala Blasters. The experience of ATK Monbagan against the youthful exuberance of Kerala, but great new foreign signings. How do you see that one going?
Yeah, good foreign signings, but have they had time to gel? That's going to be the big question.
They've had a long pre-season. They've been going on from August. They played the Durand Cup, and before that, they also had a few friendlies. So it's a long pre-season, so probably they have gel.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, this is the ISL. This is different, right? This is the league. So let's get that one clear because they'll have had the little break after the Durand Cup before going into the pre-season. It's totally different, Mojo. It really, really is. You're talking about an ATK Monbagan side that are very, very polished, that are very, very comfortable, that look, on paper, very, very good. The experience is there, the likes of Boomer. We've already mentioned some of the Manbir Singh as well, banging goals in last season and doing the business for them. We haven't even mentioned Williams and Krishna if they're going to get a start. So you're talking about quality throughout that team. Kerala Blasters, for me, are a little bit of an unknown faculty at the moment because they've been there, they're under the radar, they've done their pre-season. Can they gel it and put it all together against the big boys early doors?
And I don't know, how do you look at the first game? It's obviously ATK Monbagan probably start as slight favourites.
Yeah, I wouldn't say slight favourites. I think they start as favourites for me. You know, they've had also the AFC Cup in the middle where you could see a lot of the players getting some game time there. A lot of the players in the national team as well have been playing. So they've played a little more football than I would say more than Kerala Blasters. And like Mace mentioned, you know, pre-season
I wouldn't say that because they've just played those AFC Cup games, but they competitive football, but they haven't really played friendlies, right? Which is something that Habas never really likes, playing a lot of friendlies, which is his call.
But you know, like if you had an option of playing, Mace would agree with me, if you had an option of playing a competitive game of a pre-season friendly, you would go for a competitive game because a pre-season friendly is when you try and chop and change the squad, you try different formations, different players, and you know, it's very different to a competitive game. So I think that's where ATK Monbagan have that advantage. Although, like Mace mentioned, Kerala Blasters have changed a lot of players. They've stuck with a lot of the local players, but the foreigners, a lot of new ones. There's
they look good, right? Alvaro Vasquez, Pereira Diaz, Adrian Luna look good.
But did we not say that last year? Did we not say that the year before? What have they done? Changed coach after coach after coach, player after player after player. You need consistency, Mojo, and that's the biggest problem that Kerala Blasters have had over the past 5-6 years, you know, that they haven't had that consistent figurehead. They haven't had consistent foreign players staying with that team for 2, 3, 4 seasons. A Gallego, you know, somebody like that who can give that stability on the field and off the field as well. So that's why they're unknown for me.
No, but I kind of disagree with Mace there. The kind of season that Kerala Blasters had, like if you look at the foreigners from last season, I don't think there's somebody apart from maybe Murray who I would like to have seen probably stay back at the club. You don't really see players that you want to keep back, especially when it comes to.
So hold on. Let's rewind 12 months before then. Let's rewind 12 months before. What happened then? Who's in charge of recruitment? Who's in charge of bringing these players in? You've got to have that thought process for 2-3 years to bring players in to have that stability.
Yeah, but I don't think you really get that in Indian football, Mace. I don't think you don't get too much time. First of all, it's not even a long league. It's a shorter league, so you don't get enough of time to really. You don't have like 10 games in and then figure out, okay, it's working for us or not. 10 games are. But Goa have been consistent.
How many players have they kept the same? ATK Monbegan this year. How many players have they kept the same? Mumbai, how many players have they kept the same?
You're mentioning teams that have done much better than Kerala Blasters in the last couple of seasons. So
is there not something in doing that then to have that success, to have that sustainability? Then you need to have that.
But you generally have stability when you look for that. You look for, like, if the team is doing well, you generally stick with the same players. But that doesn't happen when you have a bad season. It's kind of world over, Mace. You'll rarely find teams that do badly stick with the same coach and stick with the same team for the next season.
So did they have a bad season 2 seasons ago?
Sorry?
Under Elko, was that a bad season?
Yeah, that was a very poor season considering the players we had, the coach we had. We should have done better. If anyone thought the season was a success, this probably doesn't understand football, because I think we were 8th or 9th in the league. I can't remember, and it's not good enough. Not for a team like Kerala Blasters, not for any team. So you got to do better, for sure.
I am just so happy that these two gentlemen are in quarantine right now. Otherwise, could have escalated to a few fisticuffs. Nevertheless, don't get out of your rooms. But coming in, before we close the show, like we do, we always love to put people on the spot so that end of the season we can have a bit of fun. Top 4 for you. When none of this will come true, probably when bizarre things will happen, but early doors, top 4.
ATK Monbegan, Mumbai, Goa, Jamshedpur.
Just one change there, because I'm getting ATK Monbegan, Mumbai City FC, Goa, and like Mace said, Hyderabad. Yeah, Hyderabad's the one that's
Mace didn't say Hyderabad, Mace said Jamshedpur.
He said it earlier.
Yeah, he figured that I was going to say Hyderabad. So I think Hyderabad, this is their season. They're going to make the playoffs.
You know what? Chennai are also a very good team. Chennai have actually quietly gone ahead and built a good team. So they could be a challenger. And I'm deeply disappointed none of you mentioned Bengaluru FC.
I don't see them strong enough making the playoffs this season, unfortunately.
Ooh, big call. But thank you, gents.
I totally agree with Darren on that one. I think that they've let far too many.
Now you're becoming friends after the fight. Excellent.
No.
Mate with the olive branch.
You know me. I'll say it as I see it, right? And that's it. They've let far too many experienced players go. I think that the quality of these young players coming in is good, but they're not as seasoned as other teams, which is why I think they may have a little bit of a wobble this year. It's a rebuilding process for Bengaluru at the moment. That's what I believe. And I think we'll see the best of them in a season or two's time. I really, really do. But I agree with Darren there. I think they'll struggle to finish in the top 4.
Interesting. Let us know with the hashtag Football United whether you agree or who do you think will make it to the top 4. I'll just say something. I think Odisha FC are a dark horse. I said this last year. And
where did they finish?
It's fine. Things happen in the past. I will still say this year, looking at their squad, I think they are the dark horses. I hope they don't let me down. I, as a ATK Mohun Bagan fan, believe ATK Mohun Bagan should make it to the top 4. But again, lots can happen. SC East Bengal, we never know how they will perform. But overall, we are shaping up for a fabulous season. Thank you, Mace. Thank you, Darren, for being with us. That's all we have on this episode of Football United. We can't wait for the season to get started. Hope you enjoyed this and take care and goodbye.